What's up everyone? Luke from Guitar Vivo here. I hope you're doing well. In these crazy times of lockdown and quarantine, all the gigs are gone and teaching in person is not allowed, so I thought I'd get on here and share with you 5 ways that you can generate income as a guitarist online. So if you're a professional guitarist, hopefully I've got some things on this list that you might not have thought about. And if you're an aspiring professional, someone who wants to be a professional one day, maybe you can use these ideas to influence your practice. You could work towards being good enough to charge people for these things. Also, these are just some of my ideas, some of the things that I do. If you've got any suggestions or ideas, whack them in the comment section below, and then other people in the community can take inspiration from it. We can help each other out. Also, I just got the Guitarist WR2 Auto Wah, so I'll put in some clips of me messing around with that to break up the talking. Let's get into it. Let's get the obvious out of the way first, teaching. Now that doesn't just mean one-to-one Skype lessons. There are loads of ways to leverage your teaching ability. But before we get into those, I want to talk about teaching ability for a second. It is really important that you base your hourly rate as a teacher on your ability as a teacher. Talking from experience and without name dropping, I've been in situations where I've paid someone a very high premium rate for an hour of their time, and it just kind of felt like a really expensive meet and greet because they weren't a great communicator and I didn't feel like they actually even wanted to be giving me the lesson. And this is probably the worst feeling a student can walk away with, and it's bad for business. Now going back to your actual options, you can do one-to-one via Skype, or you can do one-to-many via things like Zoom. Now this is great if you have a big following or want to maximize your return of time invested, or if you're not actually particularly comfortable with the open water you might find yourself in a one-to-one session and you want to plan a script for an hour's workshop and just run through that without the unpredictability that might crop up during a one-to-one session. This also allows you to do more prep behind the scenes, so you can make a PDF to go along with it so you can deliver higher value on the price point. My last point about teaching is that you don't actually need a huge following to make it work. I make about 90% of my income from teaching, and I've only got about 500 subs on YouTube and a couple of thousand followers on Instagram. But just like any service-based business, the secret is retention and referrals. So if you're doing your best as a teacher, showing that you care and that you're committed to the student, you'll retain that student and you won't have to worry about attrition rates. If you pick up 2 to 3 new students a month, in 6 months you can have a full-time business. So if you think about it, from the start of quarantine to today, that could have been enough time to set up a thriving teaching business. Number 2 is remote session work. Artists and producers and singer-songwriters are always looking for instrumentalists to record parts for their songs or co-write songs with. And if you have a home studio setup and know how to get good sounds, and you're a good part writer and you've got good time and tone, you understand all the elements that go into being a good session musician, this is a really good way to make money as a player. Now you don't even necessarily have to have a following to make this work. There are websites that will promote your services. Websites like Fiverr, Studio Pros and Air Gigs will, in exchange for commission, advertise your services. Now the same rules that apply to teaching apply to this. You have to price your product on the level of quality that you can deliver. So more than just your playing, your part writing, your equipment, the quality that you can record at are all going to affect how much you can charge. Now you don't have to be the best player in the world to start doing this, and experience will help you get better. Just make sure you're pricing appropriately. So there are people working with small or no budgets on like rough demos or EPs, and they understand the quality that they were going to get if they're going to spend $5 on a guitar track. As long as you're able to show them a portfolio of your work so they know what they're getting, then it's fair game. So my top tip for this is to get a portfolio as quick as possible. So for me, I actually just recorded full tracks by myself with vocals and things like that to demo to people. If you don't have the ability to make full tracks, then I would suggest using a lower rate so that you can get some lower level work, but then use that to build up your portfolio. Now, number 3 is one I don't personally do, so this is all outsider advice, but I think it's pretty cool, so I'm going to include it on the list. With the rise in popularity of like amp profilers and multi-effects units like the Kemper, Helix and Helix Native and the Axe effects, there's been a huge demand for custom tones. So if you're a talented tone junkie, you could generate a second income by selling some of your presets, patches and profiles. People like Rhett Shull, Glenn DeLown and Michael Britt have all added this to their repertoire of services that they offer. Now it's slightly easier for them because they've got a big following now, but there are some ways you can be creative with advertising. The easiest way is posting covers of you playing riffs or solos on YouTube and Instagram, and basically demo the patches that you make so people will find your patches whilst looking for those songs or guitar parts. And on top of that, you can hang out in the forums on gear pages and the official forums of the equipment you use. Now this brings me on to a bit of advice for the aspiring professionals out there. And that is, cultivate your tone as if you were going to sell it. So if you want to be a session musician, you're essentially selling your part writing, playing, and your tone. Invest time into understanding how to make great tones. Make an imaginary goal of making tones so great that people will hit you up asking you how you got that tone, or would ask to buy your patches. Because if you have good tone, along with time, taste, and technique, you will very rarely be stuck for work. Also, if you are an aspiring guitarist, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting loads more lessons and maybe business advice. And be sure to check out guitarvivo.com, where I post new lessons every week for intermediate and advanced level players. Back to the list. Number 4 is production or library music. If you're a good composer and producer and you know how to make full sounding tracks, then you could make library music. This is where you essentially add music to a library style website and you get paid commission or royalties based on members of that website using your music in their videos. So YouTubers and videographers will go to websites like storyblocks.com where they can find music to go under their videos. Now this one's a difficult one to use as a primary source of income unless you start getting into like commissioned work, so composing specifically for a scene, or maybe recreating backing tracks for singers in certain keys. More private stuff, the more generic library submitted work, it's harder to make a main income out of. But that being said, it is easy to get into. If you're like a budding Steve Vai or Joe Satriani and you can make simple melodies and play over vamps for long periods of time, that's kind of exactly what people are looking for to go under their vlogs. Lastly, we have ebooks and lick packs. So this is primarily for people that do have a huge following or a biggish fan base. So you can sell PDF transcriptions of any solos you've done, of your songs or material, tabs for licks you've posted on Instagram, or you can even write a collection of licks. And something I will say about that is be creative with that. Try not to infringe on anyone else's intellectual property. So unless you're Tom Quayle, don't sell a collection of 20 Tom Quayle licks. You can sell a collection of 20 jazz fusion licks, but you need to be creative. Now, if you're not the creative type, you can look into selling transcriptions, but the best way to do this is on a commission basis. So don't transcribe and then monetize a transcription you've done. You can ask for commissions and sell them that way. It's a lot more ethical. And be sure to make sure there isn't an official release of what you're being asked to transcribe. So guys, that is my list of 5 things you can do to make money online as a guitarist. I hope it has helped. If you get inspired or you've tried any of these things, you're going to try some of these things, let me know how it goes in the comment section below. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell. And if you want more from me without waiting, you can check out guitarvivo.com, where I post new lessons every week. There is a $1 trial membership offer on currently, so check that out.